Hello everybody, I hope that you are all well. I thought I'd be a little bit inspired for Valentine's Day and to try out my jars that I recently got from Plastilon. So these are all 1 liter mason jars, I suppose you can call them. These ones are console, come in a box of 12, so I'm using 10 for this experiment. So it's sort of a type of a color triangle that I'm going to be doing, and the colors I'm using are fuchsia, red, and coal. These are of course all Ashford dyes. These are dye stocks that I've mixed up. These two are in a 2% solution. Those were the very first batches I did on the 14th of May last year. And then the red, which ran out, so I mixed up a new one. This is a 1% stock solution, which I did on the 21st of December last year. Decided to move over to 1% stock solutions because the 2% was just a little bit limiting. It was very tricky to work with that. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of liquid of water to each jar just to get started, and then in varying quantities, dilutions, I'm going to add the 3 colors, starting from one corner, working my way across to the opposite corner, and that'll give us a gradient of each color as it mixes into each of the other colors. I'll probably use the coal the least, the red the most, and the fuchsia somewhere in between. Just getting some more water over here, fill this one up. It's no predetermined quantity, but the same volume of water in each jar. So I've got these little plastic cups, filling each one up to the same full line. Just to get started, let me get another cup for my pipettes. Put some water in there. Okay. Then I've got these pipettes, which are really handy for measuring out volumes. These are 3 milliliter gradiated pipettes, so they're really quite handy when it comes to measuring out volume. So let me think about this. What am I going to do? Let's start with the red, because this one is a 1% stock solution. Now I must not get confused between what's 1 and what's 2, because I had in my head that I would double the volume each row I go down. So if I start with 3 milliliters, then 6, then 12, then 24. So each row will be double the volume of the row before, actually starting this way and going that way. But this is only a 1% stock solution. So what I will do is double up this one. Now Kleintoon must concentrate. So we're going to do, instead of 3, 6, 12, 24, this one will be 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 3, and 6. Then this one will be 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 3, 6, 9, and 12. And this one will be 24, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So far so good. The last one is then 48. I could actually just measure that up, but let's go for it. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, and 48. There we go. That wasn't too hard. Let's put that in there. Close this one. That was the red. Okay. That was the hardest one. The fuchsia is quite pigmented, and it is a 3% stock solution. So I think what I will actually do with the fuchsia, which we will go this way now, will be, I think I'll start with 2 milliliters. So let's go 2, 2, 2, 2, then we'll go 4. So I'm going to do all the 3s first and then the 1s. Remember, there's now 4. So 3 and 1 and 1 and 1. So that was 2, 4. The next one will be 6. So that's 2 of these. 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's 2, 4, 6. No, 2, 4. This one should be 8. 6, 7, 8. So another 2 of each. Concentrate Kleintoon. Another 2. So 2, 4, 8, and 16. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 1 is 16. Okay, I hope that is correct. I've not fudged it up. So now you get the picture what's happening. So the reds are getting more concentrated as they're going that way. The pink is getting more concentrated as it's going this way. And the black will become more concentrated as it's going this way. So as it stands now, in there is the most red, and in here is the most fuchsia. So as I'm going this way, I'm actually moving from red to fuchsia in various steps. So this is going to create a gradient down in this direction, and actually in that way it's going to get even lighter, because in here was the most red. It got less and less and less, but the amount of fuchsia in these was the same. So that's going to create a gradient of a set amount of fuchsia, but the red getting less and less and less. So on each leg of the triangle, on each long part of the triangle, we're going to have the gradients going down, and then in the middle should actually end up with an equal mix of each of the colors. Even though I'm not using the same volume, simply because the pigmentation value of each of these colors is vastly different. So let us now put in the black. Now I must really concentrate because the black will go from this way to this way, from least to most, and I think I will start with just half a milliliter. So for this I'm actually going to bring out my little glass pipettes, because they actually go from 0.25 milliliter all the way to 1 milliliter. So here we're going to start with half a milliliter. Okay, that's half. That's half. And that one's half. And that one's half. Then the next one will be 1. 1. 1. 1. Okay, now I can move over to the pipette, because after that's 2 milliliters. Now that one is 2 and 2, half, 1, 2, and then this one will be 4. So 3 and 1. And here we go. So now I've got a blend of coal, fuchsia, and red. And if all goes well, that should create quite a nice assortment of different reds and pinks for my Valentine's yarn that I'm dyeing up. Sorry, I'm just looking at what it's doing in here. Often gives quite a nice indication. I don't know if you can see here, sort of like a dirty, dusty pink. Absolutely gorgeous. So now I have the yarn soaking in a bucket off to the side. I'm just going to mix this up, add a little bit more liquid, and then I will take you along for the ride of adding the yarn. Alrighty, now we are ready to add our yarn. So I'm going to just quickly put on my gloves because I don't need pink nail polish. And then we're going to start adding the yarn. So I've got pre-soaked in a bucket, which you can't see, it's down by my feet, 10 times 100 grams of Soul sock yarn from African Expressions. Those who have been following know that that's pretty much, well, it is the only yarn that I use. African Expressions, this is their Soul sock yarn, and they are manufactured by SA Mill in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. This one is a 15% kid mohair, 15% mulberry silk, 50% merino wool, and 20% polyamide blend. 100 grams per skein, 400 meters per hank. So I've just got the yarn soaking here, the 10 skeins. I'm just going to grab them one at a time, and we are going to add them to this yarn. Sorry, I just don't want to mix them up here. I'm just draining the liquid, squeezing out any excess, and let's get going. So they are each 100 grams. This is a litre jar. And you can see that color there is looking fantastic. They might do a little bit of a gradient. I'm going to poke them down in a moment. Actually, now let me should I add more liquid as I'm going. press that down with my fingers. I'll show you all in a moment. This is looking absolutely stunning. Okay, this is number one. Could have added more liquid, but I didn't. So there you have it. Okay, so far so good. Let's do the next one. I actually want to do the ends first, because I think that's gonna really look nice. Oh gosh, this one's like a plum. Flippin' stunning. You can see that there. That is absolutely gorgeous. There's no vinegar in here yet, it's just the dye and the liquid. So we will definitely get a little bit of variegation, which is nice. Okay. Let's see this last side. How's this one gonna look? Oh yes, yummy. Actually looking more like a selection of berries, from raspberry all the way through strawberry, maybe to a blackberry. Don't worry, I will probably in the editing speed some of this up, that you're not bored to death. Okay, I think now I'm going to do the middle, just because I'm quite curious to see what that's going to look like. I'm just trying to make sure that all this yarn in the tub doesn't get tangled. Okay, let's do the middle and see what that looks like. See, this one now should be exactly half or equal amounts of each of the four. If I say equal amounts, obviously you saw that different volumes of each, but proportionately it's the same. This one's going to be actually a really nice dusty pink. That is gorgeous. I'm loving this blend. And we are down to the last one. So far this gradient is really looking nice. I'm absolutely loving it. Obviously it's the first time I'm doing this, so I'm learning as I'm going. What I definitely realized is I could have had more volume in each of these jars. Because the previous jars I used were 750 milliliter. These are 1 liter jars, so obviously I need to just adjust my volume a little bit because they can obviously take more. And but other than that, I'm loving the color gradients. I think I was spot on with my mixes. What I might just do, because I have 2 jars left, is just do a plain red and a plain fuchsia, just that we can see what they look like. So let me just get this bucket out the way under my feet, and then I will take you off the stand, and then you can have a look with me at the different colors. Let's get these gloves off. A little bit tricky. There we go. Sure. Right, let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look now. We can have a see. Remember, let's see if we do remember. This side was the least red. Then I doubled the red again, and that had the most red in. Then the same from this side, remember, for the pink. So this had the least fuchsia, that had double the amount of fuchsia, double the row before, that had the most fuchsia. And then going down this way was the coal. So the least coal, double the row before, and the most. So let's just do a slow tour through here. So as you can see, as we go down this row, we have exactly the same amount of red in each jar, but the amount of fuchsia and black is different. So you can see as we're going down that way, we're almost ending up in a nice, very dark berry red, whereas this side is a lot more on the pink side. If we come up and look on this side, you see the lighting's a little bit different too. But here we're going from fuchsia down to red. So this side has the same amount of black in each one, but here we have the most fuchsia, and there we have the most red, and as they're blending into each other. And the same from this side, again, the most red on the end there, the most black on this side. So it's almost going into a gray. You can't really see here, but it's a gorgeous deep berry red. It looks really nice. And then in the middle, and then as I said, this middle one, let me just pull it out here, should be a complete equal blend of all three. So this one is going to be the median of all of the rest of them. Let's just have another look here from the top of our little color chart. What's going to be most exciting is actually once it's done, you will be able to see. But yeah, now here you can clearly see from here down to there the color gradients, and from this side to that side. Anyway, that was great fun. Thank you so much for coming along for this ride. And I will now let them sit for a little bit before I add the acid. And then I will add the same amount of acid to each jar, fill it up, let it sit for a few hours, and then I will start heat setting them in my microwave oven, which should take a while because I can only get 3 jars in at a time. And then once they're cooled and washed, we can come and revisit what's going on. super excited. Have yourselves an awesome day. Bye.